Week 18 of the NFL regular season is finally here. Lots of playoff implications and draft positioning on the line for the final week of the regular season. Those of you who want to know more about playoff scenarios for your respective teams, I put the link down below for those of you who want a better understanding. So let's not waste any more time here. These are my Week 18 picks. Last week went 10-6, which is pretty good. Season 157-97, which is solid. So hopefully we have an even better week and finish under 100 losses here. NFL playoff picture entering week 18. We'll start with the AFC side. Division leaders: Ravens, Dolphins, Chiefs, Jags. Wildcard teams: Browns, Bills, Colts. Teams in the hunt: Texans, Steelers. NFC side, division leaders: 49ers, Cowboys, Lions, Bucks. Wildcard teams: Eagles, Rams, Packers. Teams in the hunt: Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Falcons. We have a Saturday edition between two hated rivals. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. Steelers favored by 3.5. Steelers are coming off of a big-time real win at Seattle, 30-23. The Steelers' offense is looking a lot better ever since Mason Rudolph has been the starting quarterback. They're moving the ball down the field with more consistency. They're able to do what they want, especially in the run game, the passing game, and all that stuff. Players look a lot more happy that Rudolph is the quarterback. I feel like he should have been the starting quarterback all season, in my opinion, because he is not scared to throw the ball down the field and stuff like that, compared to Trubisky, who is scared to throw the ball down the field and afraid to make mistakes. You look at Rudolph, he's not afraid to make mistakes. He just takes his chances and just makes the right play for his team. So Steelers got a lot of good things going for them as they are fighting for a playoff spot here. The Baltimore Ravens, they're coming off of a dominant win at home against the Miami Dolphins, 56-19. I mean, not much to say about the Baltimore Ravens, like I've been saying all season long. This is the most complete team in football. Their defense is legit. Lamar Jackson, like I keep saying, ever since he got that contract, I said he was going to win MVP, and he pretty much won MVP and stuff like that with his play. And, they beat teams like the Dolphins, the Lions, the 49ers. I mean, how could you not say this team is not the team to beat in football right now with the way they're playing and stuff like that? But overall, in this game, you look at the Ravens, they already clinched the number one seed, so they really have nothing much to play for. I think they're going to rest some of their starters. Lamar in them, they may play in the first half or two, but they're not going to play the whole game. So I'm going to give the edge to Pittsburgh, 19-16. Like I said, I think the Ravens are going to be resting some of their starters. I think Pittsburgh obviously has to win and hopefully get help from some other teams to get in. So we'll see what happens. But they have to win this game, and they have to wait and see what happens on Sunday with all those other teams and stuff like that. So give me the Steelers here, 19-16 in Baltimore. Big time AFC South showdown here. We have the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. Texans favored by 1 point. Texans coming off of a dominant home win against the Titans, 26-3. Not much to say about that game. Texans just took care of business. C.J. Stroud made his return last week, and he made his presence felt. The Texans just dominated the Titans on both sides of the ball. Really frustrated Will Levis throughout the game. Got some sacks on him and just made life hell for him and stuff like that. It was a really difficult day for the Titans offense to get anything going down the field against this Texans team and stuff like that. So Texans did what they needed to do to keep themselves in the playoff mix here and potentially get in if things fall in place here. The Indianapolis Colts, they're coming off a big time home win against the Raiders, 23-20. I really like what the Colts did, especially on defense, really limiting the Raiders' offense. I thought they did a tremendous job with limiting Aiden McConnell and Devontae Adams offensively. The Raiders got a big time, or not a big time, but they got a late score at the end of the game, which didn't really matter because they waited too late to do something. But the Colts, you gotta really give them credit. They really just played fundamentally sound football from start to finish. And like I said, they're another team that is fighting to get in the playoffs here as they're sitting here at number 7 seed right now. So we'll see what happens in this game. But overall in this game, I'm going with the Texans 29-27. I just think this Texans team is ready, especially after the year they had last year. I think this team is ready to compete. not for a Super Bowl, but they're ready to make the playoffs and maybe do some damage in the playoffs if things fall in place here. So give me the Texans here to win by 2 points, 29-27 in Indianapolis. Another AFC North showdown, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals favored by 6 points. Browns coming off a dominant home win against the New York Jets, 37-20. I'm not going to overthink this or spend too much time on. The Browns were just a much better football team, especially on both sides there. The Jets continue to struggle offensively against this Browns team, who is the best defense in football and stuff like that. Joe Flacco continues to fling that football down the field. He continues to be the spark for this Browns offense ever since Deshaun went out with the injury and stuff like that. And this is a dangerous Browns team. Like I said, nobody's going to want to play this team come playoff time. This team has the potential to get to the Super Bowl if all things play out right for this team and stuff like that. So they got a lot of good things going for them and stuff like that. The Bengals, they're coming off a road loss at the Chiefs 25-17. Not much to say about the Bengals. Like I said, Joe Burrow, ever since he went out with the injury, the Bengals season's pretty much been over, and they just had no response, especially on the offense. So they don't have anything going their way right now. Overall in this game, give me the Browns 20-17. I just think they're a better football team. I think the Browns are going to be resting some of their starters and stuff like that. Bengals don't really have much to play for, so why not just give the Browns the dub here? I think they have a better defense. I think they'll be able to hold down that side. So 20-17 in Cincinnati. Next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 3 points. Vikings coming off a dominant home loss to the Packers 33-10. Not going to get much into the Vikings. They just got outplayed on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's really that simple. Nick Mullins had a terrible game, continues to turn the ball over, put the ball harm's way, and stuff like that. And who's the Vikings quarterback going to be next year? Are they going to draft a quarterback? Are they going to get someone in free agency? Who knows what they're going to do? But Nick Mullins just ain't it. All the quarterbacks on the roster ain't it. They got to find someone. If they Vikings want to get back to the playoffs next year, they got to find a quarterback. It's that simple to me, and they just have to do it quick in a hurry. I mean, not much to say about them. The Detroit Lions, they're coming off a close loss in Dallas, 20-19. The Lions had a chance to win the game, obviously towards the end there, until that controversial call by the referee. Obviously, pissed off a lot of Lions fans, and Dan Campbell wasn't happy about the call and stuff like that. Um, but you can't really take away from what Dallas did. They played solid defense against a pretty good Lions offense and stuff like that. So you really have to give them credit too. They did what they needed to do to win, obviously, until that last call. Like I said, I'm not a Lions fan, but I'm just speaking from what I saw towards the end there. But it wouldn't surprise me if you saw the Lions and Cowboys meet up again in the playoffs. But overall in this game, given the Lions here 20-17, I think they should win comfortably against a depleted Vikings team who is struggling on offense. Quarterback is just they just continue to turn the ball over and stuff like that. So I think the Lions defense will be able to have a field day against that Vikings offense. 20-17 in Detroit. Next game, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Jags favored by 5.5. Jags coming off a home dominant win against the Carolina Panthers 26-0. They pretty much just outplayed Carolina on both sides of the ball. Plain and simple. They definitely surprised me. I didn't think the Jags would win by that much, especially without Trevor Lawrence last week. But they definitely proved me wrong. Defense played spectacular that whole game. Offense was on point against a struggling Carolina team who just continues to struggle this whole season and stuff like that. Bryce Young looked frustrated throughout that game and stuff like that. So you really have to give the Jags credit. They're able to win with or without Trevor at times in the season, and they got it done when it mattered. The Tennessee Titans, they're coming off a disappointing loss at Houston, 26-3. I thought the Titans would put up a little more of a fight there at Houston. I had the Titans as my upset last week, and they just didn't show up. Will Levis looked frustrated. He took a lot of hits in that game against a motivated Texans defense, who just got Trevor or C.J. Stroud back last week, so they are definitely motivated and stuff like that on both sides, and they just outplayed the Titans and outcoached the Titans that whole game. So that pretty much what it came down to and stuff like that. Titans just didn't show up and stuff like that. who have a team that has nothing to play for. But overall in this game, give me the Jags 23-17. I think the Titans will be able to keep it close, but I think the Jags are just simply just a better team. Obviously, a team that has a lot more to play for than the Titans do. So give me the Jags 23-17 in Tennessee. Next game, we have the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Patriots favored by 2.5. Jets coming off a disappointing loss at Cleveland, 37-20. Like I said, keep saying about the Jets, they just continue to struggle on offense. It's plain and simple. They just had no answers against this Browns defense, who is currently the best defense in football. The Jets couldn't stop Joe Flacco and company on offense. He was able to do what he wanted against that Jets defense throughout that entire game and stuff like that. And pretty much the Jets season was over ever since Aaron Rodgers went out in week one with the injury. It was just that simple. I mean, like I said, the Jets defense does everything. They're on the field the entire game because their offense can't do anything. And like I said, their defense is exhausted and stuff like that. And they're just ready to get to the offseason. Like I said, they're ready to get to next year. And maybe the Jets can turn it around next year with Aaron Rodgers if he stays healthy. The New England Patriots, they're coming off a close loss at Buffalo, 27-21. Really proud of my team. They really went in there. They were 14-point underdogs going into that game, and they only lost by 6 points. I mean, they had a chance to win. Like I said, you take away those turnovers that they had earlier in the game, who knows? They would have probably been walking out with a dub. You never know. But you have to give the Buffalo Bills credit. They're on the roll right now. They were 6-6 at one point. Now they're sitting here at 10-6, fighting for the playoff lives. The Bills did what they needed to do to keep themselves in the playoff mix. And like I said, it all came down to talent. Bills just have way more talent than the Patriots do right now, and it's just that simple to me. But overall in this game, Patriots have dominated the Jets in this rival, but I think this comes to an end. So give me the Jets here, 16-13 at New England. I think this will be Bill Belichick's last game as a New England Patriots coach and stuff like that. And like I said, I think the Jets will be motivated to come out and end the streak against their arch rival. So 16-13 at New England. Next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Saints favored by 3 points. Falcons are coming off a dominant road loss at the Bears, 37-17. I mean, not much to say about the Falcons. They just got to play on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's that simple to me. The Falcons defense, they could not contain Justin Fields throughout that entire game. He was able to do what he wanted offensively against the Falcons there. And the Falcons offense just couldn't dissect that Bears defense. I mean, they just couldn't find any open guys really down the field, and they just struggled throughout the entire game against an improved Bears team ever since it got Montez Sweat at the trade deadline. They just been much better defense ever since they got him. So you really have to give the Bears credit. Like I said, they're a much better team this year, much improved team this year, and it showed in that game. And you have a dome team against a cold weather team in Chicago, and it definitely showed in that game. So give the Bears credit; they just outplayed the Falcons on both sides there. The Saints, they're coming off a road win at the Bucks, 23-13. Not expecting the Saints to go in there and get the dub, like I said, against a hot team like Tampa has been in past weeks. I thought Tampa Bay would go in there and take care of business and lock up the NFC South. But the Saints had other plans. They went in there and dominated defensively, frustrating Baker Mayfield, improved throughout that entire game, holding them to zero. I mean, they were pretty much held them scoreless until the fourth quarter, and that's when they scored some points there. But the Saints defense dominated. The Saints offense did what they needed to do to hold off the hot Bucks team there. So you have to give the Saints credit. But overall in this game, give me the Saints here, 24-17. I just think they're a much better football team than the Falcons and stuff like that. They're at home. I think their defense will be able to contain the Falcons' offense and shut down whatever the Falcons have in store offensively. So I think that's what it's going to come down to. So Saints by a touchdown at home. Next game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. Bucks favored by 5.5. Bucks coming off a loss at home to the Saints, 23-13. I just think they ran up against a motivated Saints team who everyone thought Tampa Bay would win that game, including myself. And Saints just came in and they just dominated uh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on both sides throughout the whole game there. I mean, it's really just that simple. I mean, the Bucks couldn't get anything going throughout that entire game, especially on offense. I think they waited a little bit too late. They did score late in the fourth quarter. I just think that there just wasn't enough time left in that game to be able to make a comeback there. So, you really have to give the Saints credit. They really just won the time possession and just took a lot of time off the clock for Tampa Bay to even make some sort of run to get back into it. So, but Tampa Bay, like I said, they're still in it. They have another week to do it and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens in this game. Carolina Panthers, they're coming off a dominant road loss at Jacksonville 26-0. I must say about the Panthers, I thought the Panthers would be able to upset the Jags, especially with no Trevor Lawrence, and I was just dead wrong. The Carolina Panthers, this is just a bad football team. Terrible football team, just plain and simple. They just got nothing going for them right now and stuff like that. They don't even own their pick for this year's draft, which is a shame because, 2-14, that probably would get you number one pick in reality, but they don't own that pick. So they don't have anything going for them right now, not much to say. But overall in this game, I think Tampa Bay responds here 24-13. Like I said, I think they're just a much better football team than Carolina. I think they respond here after losing at home last week. And I think Tampa Bay will make the playoffs and they will win the division here. 24-13 in Carolina. Next game, we have the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. Packers favored by 3 points. Bears coming off a dominant home win against the Atlanta Falcons 37-17. Justin Fields continues to show why I think Chicago needs to keep him. There's no reason for Chicago to even think about getting another quarterback in this year's draft. I know that you may look at Caleb Williams and he's a good quarterback and stuff like that, but Justin Fields has shown you enough that he is the guy moving forward. All you have to do is give him another receiver, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr., and continue to build that offensive line to give Justin Fields enough time to throw the football down the field. And that's all really the Bears need to do. Don't overthink it. Justin Fields is the guy for Chicago, in my opinion, and I support Justin Fields as an Ohio State fan, so that's why I prefer Justin Fields to be a Chicago Bear going forward. But overall, they just dominate the Falcons, both sides of the ball there. Justin Fields had a field day against that Falcons defense. Bears dominated the whole game against a struggling Falcons team and stuff like that. So, the Bears basically did what they wanted on both sides there. The Green Bay Packers are coming off a dominant road win at the Vikings 33-10. They just punched the Vikings in the mouth. I mean, I know the Vikings are dealing with their quarterback issues and stuff like that, but the Packers they just took it to the Vikings. Defensively, they just frustrated Nick Mullins throughout that entire game. They were just a more physical team. Offensively, Jordan Love had just a field day against that Vikings defense. And the Vikings just looked depleted. Like I said, they just looked unmotivated. Like I said, they have nothing to play for and stuff like that. So you have to give the Packers credit for just, keeping the foot on the gas and just not letting up against a inferior team like the Vikings. But overall in this game, I'm rolling with Chicago 27-21. I think what comes down to is Green Bay won the first matchup in Week 1 earlier in the year. I think Chicago, the way they've been playing the last few weeks or so, Justin Fields is hot right now. I'm just going to roll with the hot hand here. 27-21 in Green Bay. Next game, we have the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders favored by 2.5. Broncos coming off a low-scoring home win against the Chargers, 16-9. I'm not going to get much into this game, honestly. I mean, there was no Russell Wilson in this game for the Broncos. Jarrett Stidham obviously did what he needed to do, being a game manager like he was. He made some good plays for his team down the field. He made the right plays and stuff like that. And Denver, like I said, their defense just dominated Ethan Stick and stuff like that. Really dominated the Chargers offense throughout that entire game, holding them to only 9 points, which is pretty impressive. So that was pretty much the only bright spot for the Broncos there. Really, just the defense just dominated there. The Raiders, they're coming off a road loss at the Colts, 23-20. I mean, the Raiders did what they needed to do, put themselves in the game. They had a chance, obviously, towards the end of the game there, but the Colts just made more plays at the end and stuff like that. The Colts were just a more desperate team. Obviously, a team that's in the playoffs as we speak as a 7 seed. They want to continue to hold on to that spot, and they just made more plays, like I said. And like I said, they played a little bit more desperation than the Raiders did. But the Raiders did put themselves in the game making the game close and stuff like that. They just couldn't make enough plays down the stretch. But overall in this game, give me the Raiders 19-17. I think they're, like I said, them being at home here, no Russell Wilson and stuff like that. I think the Raiders defense should be able to get after that Broncos offense and stuff like that. And Antonio Pierce, like I said, he needs to be the head coach going into next year. There's no ifs or buts about it. This is a great coach, very motivative for his team. Team obviously responds to him and stuff like that. I really like the way the Raiders have responded to him ever since he has been incorporated as interim. So he needs to be the head coach next year. It's just get it done for the Raiders. 19-17 at home. Next game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Eagles favored by 5 points. Eagles are coming off a disappointing loss at home to the Arizona Cardinals 35-31. I don't know what's happened with this Eagles team. I mean, you started off 10-1, and then now you're sitting here at 11-5. Like, what happened to this Eagles team? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, this defense has been bad all year long, giving up so many points on that side of the ball and stuff like that. And the offense, like I said, Jalen Hurts has been inconsistent over the last few weeks or so. Like I said, going back to the Seahawks game where he had the flu and stuff like that. I get that he wasn't playing well, but you still had a chance to win that game against a team that you were better than. The Cowboys, okay, you got dominated by them. Okay, cool. But the Eagles team, you start off so hot and then you just fell off. Like, what happened? You were the number one seed at one point, and now you're sitting here at the number 5 seed, potentially having to go on the road unless Dallas somehow chokes against the Commanders. But the Eagles, they're just not playing well right now, and they need to figure it out because they're gonna be a one and done team in the playoffs if they don't get their act together here. The New York Giants, they're coming off of a close loss at home to the Rams, 26-25. I thought the Giants would win that game. They were in field goal range towards the end of the game there against the Rams, and they just missed a field goal. I don't know what happened. They just didn't get it done. Just poor execution and stuff like that. So not much to say. The Giants had a chance to win. They just didn't get it done. Execute. Plain and simple. But overall in this game, give me the Eagles 23-21. I think some people have this game as a blowout. Like I said, the way the Eagles have been playing, they just don't block teams anymore. I don't know what it is. I think the Giants have been competitive all season. They've been in games, so I think they'll be able to not make things easy for the Eagles. But like I said, the Eagles' talent will be able to get it done and win by 2 points here, 23-21 in New York. Next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. Seahawks favored by 2.5. Seahawks are coming off a home loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 30-23. The Seahawks, they just ran up against a really improved Steelers team. Like I said, ever since Steelers have incorporated Mason Rudolph into the starting quarterback position, the Steelers have been significantly better offensively. They're putting up a lot more points on that side of the ball, and it just showed. The Seahawks didn't have no answers for Mason Rudolph and George Pickens down the field. They just made plays against this defense. The Seahawks, obviously, offensively, they put up a good fight on that side, and they just couldn't make the plays down the stretch. I mean, Steelers just made the necessary plays to win the game and stuff like that, and that's basically what it came down to. Not much to say. The Seahawks, they need to win more of these close games if they want to make the playoffs here. The Arizona Cardinals, they're coming off a big-time upset win at Philadelphia, 35-31. I really like the fight in this Cardinals team right now. The record may not be good. I think they're a lot better than what the record is. If you look at their schedule, they've been in a lot of close games. They just haven't been able to finish or close them out. But they got a big-time win on the road. That was a really big game for Kyler Murray. He had a phenomenal game. And I think this is one of those situations, just like I said about Justin Fields, the Cardinals, you may want to think about, if you're going to think about getting another quarterback, look at what Kyle Murray has done for your team. You may want to think about keeping him as your quarterback and just build around him. You have a lot of options on the table for the Cardinals, with that fourth pick. So we'll see what happens there, if they can get higher pick or if they stay where they're at. We'll see. But overall in this game, this is my upset of the week. Give me the Cardinals 24-23. Like I said, I think this is one of those situations where I don't think the Cardinals need to draft another quarterback. I think Kyler is your guy. You just continue to build around him maybe give him another receiver and Marvin Harrison Jr. and stuff like that, and continue to build that offensive line and stuff like that. I think Kyler Murray's done just enough to be able to convince the Cardinals that he is the guy going forward. So that's just my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But Cardinals 24-23 at home. AFC West showdown, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers favored by 3 points. Chiefs coming off a home win against the Bengals 25-17. Like I keep saying, this Chiefs defense is legit. I mean, like I said, they're one of the best defenses in football. They're holding teams to low scoring averages, holding a team like the Bengals to only 17 points. Obviously, there's no Joe Burrow on that side, but like I said, that's elite company right there. You holding the team to 17 points is pretty damn good on that side. Uh, I still have concerns, like I said, with the offense in the Chiefs. Like I said, the receivers have the most drops in football. I'm curious to see if they're going to be resting starters or if they're going to be playing a little bit in this game and then maybe resting and stuff like that. I think they need to work on catching the football better if this Chiefs team wants to go far in the playoffs. It's just that simple. I mean, you have to catch the football. Mahomes needs you to make some plays down the field and rely on you. You got to be able to make those plays if you're the Chiefs receivers. It's just that simple. So, I'm curious to see what they do, especially on the offense and stuff like that. If they want to go anywhere close to Super Bowl, they're going to have to improve on that side of the ball. The Chargers, they're coming off of a loss at Denver 16-9. I'm not going to get much into the Chargers. Like I said, they're just a team that's trying to fight for a better draft pick right now and stuff like that. Easton Stick, obviously, like he has a little potential, but like I said, it just wasn't enough. They just didn't do anything offensively against Broncos team. Like I said, against a good Broncos defense, who just basically shut down the Chargers offense throughout that entire game. So not much to say about the Chargers there. Overall in this game, giving the Chiefs 21-16. Like I said, even if they're resting some of their starters, I still think the Chiefs will be able to get it done, especially on defense against Easton Stick and stuff like that. So give me the Chiefs by 5 points on the road. Next game, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers favored by 3.5. Rams coming off of a close win at the Giants 26-25. Like I said with the Rams, they did what they needed to do to win the game at the end of the day. This is a team that's also in the playoff conversation. They got a big time win on the road against a Giants team who has nothing to play for, but they did compete throughout the entire game. They did have a chance to beat the Rams, but like I said, they did take advantage of their opportunity by having the field goal opportunity, and they just blew it at the end there. So the Rams kind of got lucky there. But like I said, this is still a dangerous Rams team. They're a veteran team. They have experience. And this is another team, like I said, nobody's going to want to play this team come playoff time. This team has a chance to upset one of those top teams in the NFC there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where they end up seeding wise and stuff like that. But like I said, I wouldn't want to play this Rams team come playoff time. The 49ers, they're coming off of a win at the Commanders 27-10. Like I said, that was a get right game for the 49ers after getting blown out at home to the Ravens 33-19 a week prior. They beat up on an inferior team like the Commanders. Obviously, another team that has nothing to play for. They're just looking to the draft to get a better draft pick and stuff like that. And the 49ers, they show why they're one of the top teams in football. That's simple. Overall in this game, I think the 49ers are going to be resting most of their starters. So I'm going to give the edge to the Rams 26-23. Like I said, this is a big game for the Rams too because, they could potentially, if they lose, they may have to play Dallas. They may fall to the 7th seed and play Dallas in the first round. So if they win this game, you end up playing the Lions in the first round most likely. So give me the Rams here, 26-23 in San Fran. Next game, we have the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders. Cowboys favored by 13. Cowboys coming off a close win at home against the Detroit Lions, 20-19. I mean, you really have to give the Cowboys credit, especially on defense. They holding the Lions team that's been hot in weeks prior to only 19 points is pretty damn impressive. Like I said, this Cowboys team is a better home team than they are on the road. It's just that simple. They play with more desperation. Defense is flying around the football field and stuff like that. Dak had an okay day, obviously, but the Lions defense, frustrated Dak a little bit in that game and stuff like that. But you can when it comes to the end of the game there with that controversial call. I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, like I said, Lions fans are pissed off about it. Dan Campbell's pissed about it. But you can't take away from what Dallas did. They did what they needed to do. They held the Lions to 19 freaking points. Like I said, the Lions offense has been hot in weeks prior. Holding them to 19 points is pretty damn impressive. So give the Cowboys credit there. The Washington Commanders, they're coming off of a disappointing loss at home to the 49ers, 27-10. They just lost to a better team. It's just that simple. I mean, the 49ers, they're coming off a loss week prior to the Ravens, and they came in and just took their anger out on the Commanders. So, I mean, not much to say. You can't be ashamed for the Commanders. You lost to a better team, but the Commanders also, they're playing for a better draft pick. And obviously, they're sitting pretty at number 2 right now. And if they lose this game, they pretty much sealed that position at number 2. So, it's a win-win situation for Washington. No point in winning these games right now. So overall in this game, I think Washington covers. So give me the Cowboys 27-20. I just think they get it done here. I think they win here and they pretty much seal that number 2 spot in the NFC. They'll have a home playoff game, and so we'll see what Dallas is made of in the playoffs. So 27-20 in Washington. Game of the week right here. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Bills fair by 3 points. Buffalo coming off of a close win against the New England Patriots, 27-21. The Bills did what they needed to do to win the game. I mean, like I said, this team was sitting at 6-6 at one point, and this team has ridden on a 4-game winning streak going up to week 18 here. And this is one of the hottest teams in football right now, and this team has a lot of momentum. They're going their way and stuff like that. And this team has a chance to come all the way back from being behind Miami for about 8 weeks or so to potentially win the division if they somehow get it done in Miami. That will be just a hell of a story for the Buffalo Bills and their fans and stuff like that. So, I mean, like I said, they got a lot of good things going their way. So we'll see what happens here. The Miami Dolphins, they're coming off just a blowout loss at Baltimore, 56-19. I mean, like I keep saying with this team is just, I can't take this team serious. I just can't. I mean, like I said, you got a good win against Dallas. Okay, cool, whatever. Dallas is a bad road team, stuff like that. But this Dolphins team has not, to me, in my eyes, just haven't won a real game against a real opponent. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you lose to a Ravens team by that much. I mean, after what you did to them last year and stuff like that, it's just inexcusable for the Dolphins to lose by that much, knowing that you've been in the lead in the AFC East for all this time, and now you're about to choke this division away to your arch rival, who has won the division the last 3 years. I mean, if you're a Dolphins fan, how deflating is that to be able to lead the division for that long and potentially blowing it at the end? That has to be somewhat deflating if you're a Dolphins fan. So I'm curious to see what the mindset's going to be. Like for the Dolphins if they somehow don't get it done and they have to go on the road for the playoffs. But overall in this game, I'm going with the Bills here, 30-24. I just think they're the higher team. I think this Buffalo Bills team is playing with a lot of motivation right now. This Dolphins team is dealing with a bunch of injuries. Buffalo is more healthier. Bradley Chubb being out. He's hurt now. So what are you going to do in terms of the pass rush for the Miami Dolphins? How are you going to get pressure on Josh Allen? If he has time back there all day to throw the football, it could potentially be a long day for the Dolphins. So I think Buffalo comes back here and they win the division for a 4th year in a row, and they clinch that number 2 spot. And Miami will be the 6th seed, having to go to Kansas City. So Buffalo 30-24 in Miami. Top 10 draft picks heading into Week 18. Bears, Falcons, Jets, Titans, Chargers, Giants, Cardinals, Patriots, Commanders, Bears. Now I'll do it. Those are my Week 18 NFL predictions. Comment your picks below. Like, share, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy this game this weekend, and I will see you guys come playoff time. Peace.